There is a war going on in your head. It's like there's this battle between that fat ass version of you and your addictions, and then there's that higher self, the part of you that wants to improve. And here's the thing, I spent 5 years of my life losing this battle. It was the reason I became the fat kid of the friend group. I hated the way I looked. I was ashamed of those addictions to things like going on the hub, eating pounds of junk food a day. But I finally found a way to get out of this. After reading this book right here called The 33 Strategies of War, I've basically found a way to eliminate my addictions using war strategies. And using this advice, I was able to lose over 17 pounds, quit all of my addictions, and change my life forever. And so I know this advice works. There's three strategies I'm going to show you in this stuff now. And the first strategy that you need to learn from this book is you need to declare war on your enemies. So you need to understand now what we're fighting against, what the war is, because I could give you all these different techniques I'm going to show you in this video, but if you don't actually give a damn, if you're like, oh wait, how does war strategies stop me from having these man boobs? How do I get rid of these addictions? You won't understand anything. So let me explain to you why this video is going to be useful for you. There is this force inside of your brain called the monkey brain. It's the part of you that resists improving. It actively wants you to be a loser forever, right? And you don't like being a loser, but it's such a good enemy. It's such a good force at keeping you hooked on these addictions. And for example, my monkey brain was the reason that I became overweight. It got me addicted to junk food, scrolling, going on the hub. It caused me to literally yell at my parents because they didn't let me play like an extra 2 hours of Minecraft, even when I was already playing like 8 hours a day. You get that, right? The monkey brain is the part of you that actively hates when you try and improve your life. And if you learn, here's the important part, if you learn to tune out your monkey brain, if you stop being puppeteered by it, guess what? All of your addictions go away. Think about it. You know that voice, that part of you in your head that actively stops you from doing the good habits you need to do, like studying, like working out, like quitting these addictions. Trust me, once you learn to tune out your monkey brain, this journey gets 10 times easier. So, this is going to be the hardest thing that you're ever going to do in your life. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. Like all these shitty videos online I've seen nowadays where it's like the 4-minute hack to quit all of your addictions and attract Sophie Rain India, whatever, you know, pause there. There are these videos out there that lie to you, that'll tell you, these stupid little influencers are like, oh, the 2-minute fix to quit all of your addictions that you do before bed. I'm telling you, none of that shit works. This journey that you're about to go on, the reason that you clicked on this video, is going to be the hardest journey, the hardest path you're ever going to take in your life. Even harder than the world's rank 57 you have on Genshin Impact, bro. But trust me when I say, this will be the most fulfilling part of your life. This video will genuinely, if you take action on it, make every single goal you want to achieve happen. So, now that you understand what we're going against, it's the monkey brain, I'm going to talk about the next strategy that I learned from this book right here, which is we need to gather intelligence. Every single war you've ever heard of, like World War II, the Cold War, every single thing, the Cold War wasn't really a war, whatever. Every single battle, every single war doesn't start out with you just immediately going like, trying to raw dog the other enemy by just like annihilating them. No, the first thing you need to do is gather intelligence. Because unless you know how the monkey brain operates, unless you know how the enemy is keeping you hooked onto these addictions, you won't make any progress. So, how do we actually understand the monkey brain? Let me explain it to you. The monkey brain hates one thing. When you do this one thing, that's when you'll hear the monkey brain. It is when you try and do anything that improves your life. Think about it. You've never had any fucking resistance to playing 8 hours of Minecraft, right? You never had any resistance to going and scrolling mindlessly or eating junk food or even going on the darker website, you know, right? Any bad habit, anything that makes your life worse, your monkey brain doesn't give a shit about. It's only when you try and improve your life then you'll hear the monkey brain give you those thoughts. Oh, it's too hard. I don't feel like it. My foot hurts. I can't work out. Those thoughts, that poison in your head only comes out when you're trying to improve your life. Now, I'll give you an actionable step. I'll give you a little analogy here. I remember a few years ago, I was sat here on my desk, but instead of making progress in life, I was sat there grinding in Minecraft Bed Wars. Now, I was the type of kid who, when I would play video games, I wouldn't just sit there and just like stay present. I would watch YouTube. I'd scroll literally on YouTube Shorts while I was playing because my brain would just fried at this point, right? But as I was scrolling that one day, I remember getting recommended this one video that piqued my curiosity. It was this video on this millionaire just giving advice to his younger self. And it was kind of like a weird video. Usually I'd just be given like brain rot freaking offensive memes. But this time I was given some shit that I was curious about. So when I clicked on this video, there was this millionaire, and he was explaining these two words that once I understood, I'm not joking, changed my life's trajectory. When I learned the next two words I'm going to talk to you about, it made my life go from being this like fat Genshin Impact gooner to me actually improving my life. And those two words were instant and delayed gratification. Now, you might have already heard those words from like some stupid reel, but I'm going to give you the brain dead caveman autistic explanation to this. Instant gratification is anything that you do, an action that will make your life worse, but it feels good right now. Again, gooning, going on 10 hours of video games, eating junk food, scrolling. These are actions that your monkey brain likes doing, you feel good doing, but it makes your life 10 times worse in the future. It's the reason you'll go to bed and feel like a piece of shit and have those negative thoughts. But then there's delayed gratification, and this is now the opposite of that. It's an action that'll improve your life in the future, but it feels hard right now. So anytime you try and improve your life, whether it's studying, going to get straight A's by studying, or stopping your addictions, or eating less junk food, or working out, all of these things are contributing to future you's life, but your monkey brain hates. So you might have already heard that, but let me give you the actual important bit, the part that changed my life. You can almost visualize your brain like a scale. And on that scale, there's two different parts. There's the monkey brain, and there's the rational self, the enlightened part of you that wants to improve. When you do something, for example, you eat some junk food, or you go on the hub, or you watch some stupid videos online, or you're playing 8 hours of game, like you're just being basically just a loser, right? It's almost like you're stacking a rock on that side of the scale, like you're voting for that part of you. So next time when you try and play video games, it's even easier. That part of you wants to do it even more. And this is why you probably suck at staying consistent. I'll give you an example, right? Because if we understand that your mind is like a scale, when I used to be this fat little Genshin Impact player, I wanted to lose fat because I didn't like being fat shamed every single day. I hated the way I looked. But I never stayed consistent because imagine that scale that I had. I had like 4 years of COVID, thousands of hours of gaming, scrolling, all those bad habits, and there was like 1,000 rocks on this part of the scale. But the good habits, I did zero. I did nothing, right? So that part of the scale had no rocks. So in a weird way, you can almost imagine it. Each time you do the bad habits, it gets even harder to do the good habits. And this is probably the reason that you've been stuck for so long. Now, I'm going to give you the solutions for that in a second, but what you need to understand is you will never regret doing any delayed gratification. You might have had this resistance for a while to, for example, do any good habits. And even I have it, right? I remember yesterday, I usually go over my videos before I record them, and yesterday I just did not feel like it. I felt like my throat was fucking raw, because this is hard work, right? I need to sit here and talk for 20 minutes straight, but I did it. And what I understood in that moment was that even though it was annoying, even if it was difficult, even if I didn't want to do it, I don't regret going over these videos, because now, as I'm speaking right now, this video has gotten better. My life has improved. That is the nature of delayed gratification. And so, this might seem kind of abstract, but when you do the good habits, they actually get easier over time. Every single person who goes to the gym for the last few years consistently will tell you it gets easier as you do it. As you go through the habits and you get the reps in, it's almost like you get XP. You stack rocks on that side of the scale, and so you stay consistent. So, we now understand, okay, how do we undermine the monkey brain? We do things that improve future use life. And we now understand the difference between instant and delayed pleasure. Okay, now we're going to go over the final strategy that once you tie it in will make you go from being this fat little loser that you might not like to finally getting out of these addictions. And I just need to charge my computer 1 second. I swear, I remember going over this video earlier and like it going, like the fucking laptop went out and I was so pissed off because it took like 20 minutes to charge again. But anyways, the third strategy I'm going to talk about is the annihilation strategy. And I read it again in the book called The 33 Strategies of War. And basically how it works is, I'll give you a story to really tie it in. There was this one South African tribe that what it would do back like in, let's say, the 1950s when the British were in South Africa, and of course they were just like plundering everything. This tribe wasn't about to just like go and get absolutely raw dogged by all those rifles that the British had. What they would do is they would hide in all these different crevices and caves and the underneath these rocks in the land. So of course the British didn't see them. And as these British people were walking down the land to try and find these people, they would emerge out of those rocks in the caves and stuff. They would encircle the British and annihilate them. It's like they would completely destroy them by just overwhelming them and encircling the enemy. That's one of the strategies that the book gives. And you might think, okay, how the hell does that actually matter? Well, this is what the monkey brain does. Whenever you try and do a good habit, it's like it'll overwhelm, it'll encircle you, it'll absolutely annihilate that desire within you. It'll be like, oh, it's too hard, I'm not going to do it. It'll be the part of you that'll tell you, no, 1 hour of gaming makes you more creative, bro. No. When you have your monkey brain annihilating your desire to improve, when it's encircling your brain, it's going to be so much harder to make any progress. This is why people like alcoholics stay fat fucks and these addicted little losers all the time. And that's sort of insensitive, but you can imagine it, right? When there's this alcoholic that wants to quit their addiction, let's say they go to work like usual, it feels like a full-time job in their head as they're like, no, I'm not going to drink, I'm not going to drink, I'm not going to drink. But as they're coming back and they have that little trigger, like they see the store that they usually get beer from, they just collapse because they've just been overwhelmed by their monkey brain to stay as a loser. So, knowing this, we need to learn how to overcome this, how to stop being overwhelmed by our monkey brain, how to stop being pulled around by our desires. And I found an exact technique to do this. I tried for 4 years to just brute force this shit, right? I was just like, okay, I'm going to quit all of my addictions. I'm going to stop being a gamer. I'm going to study for 10 hours a day, just like that. And it never worked out because when you try and quit an addiction, it's almost like it creates a vacuum because let's say you played video games for like 8 hours a day. When you just try and quit the addiction, you suddenly have this 8-hour block, this vacuum that you have nothing to do in. And so you're going to go back, you're going to feel bored, you're going to be like, there's nothing really to do, I don't feel like studying. And so you're just going to go back to being a gamer, right? We need to not just quit these addictions, we need to replace them. We need to encircle our monkey brain with all of these good habits so that we can replace that part of our brain with delayed gratification, right? And so how do we do this? You might be asking, okay, it's cool of you to say, how the hell do we do this? Well, let me show you exactly how. When you have, let's look at video games, right? What do video games usually do to keep you hooked? Every single time you log in, they spam you with level bars, XP bars, all of this shit to try and hook you in, to keep you almost motivated to keep going. Of course, because you see the level bar progressing. But when we try and do some sort of activity, like for example, we try and lose fat or we try and quit our addictions, we don't have that same level bar. We don't have those reminders that anchor us towards this path. So let me give you the easiest actionable step that you can do right now in 5 minutes that will make it so much easier to quit these addictions. On my wall right here, you can see I have all these pieces of paper, and if you look closely, it has like my 6-month goals, my 1-year goals. You can see down there's like 10-year goals. There's my 1-month goals. And the reason I have all this stuff written down is because when you look at video games and you see, okay, the reason that they do this is, of course, to hijack your motivation. You can just do that in real life as well. It sounds kind of weird and like not normal to just have your goals up there 24/7, but in the same way that your brain is overwhelming you with these desires for pleasure, if you were to just if you just imagine it, let's say that you were to be forced to, let's say you were going to go study, and one version of you were just sat there studying, and the other version of you had all those goals written down. In a weird way, even though you're still doing the same task, imagine that in the one hand where you don't have the goal written down, you're just like, oh, my dad just yelled at me to study, okay, I guess I'll do it. You don't have any motivation to do it because you didn't choose to do the good habit. You didn't have a goal like you had written up there that made you want or made you feel that desire to study. You were just yelled at by your dad to go do it, and so you're like, okay, I guess I might as well do it. When you write down the goal, trust me when I say this, it's like you're giving yourself that level bar, that objective to work towards. And just like in a video game, you're going to feel way more motivated just as you look at that piece of paper. So here's your action step right now. If you want to annihilate your monkey brain, if you just take a piece of paper right now, write down the goals that you want. And it doesn't have to be like those whitewashed smart goals that the fucking schools will tell you to write. You can literally write down, I want to lose 10 pounds so I stop getting fat shamed. I want to have the highest grades in my entire school because I want to be praised for it. You can use these desires you have to overwhelm your monkey brain, to short circuit it as you write down those goals. And when you see them each day, you're automatically going to make more progress. Now, if you do those 3 action steps, you understand how the monkey brain works. You understand delayed and instant pleasure, and you know that, okay, we just need to stack more rocks on the other side through improving future you's life. And you write down these goals. You will be 10 times further ahead than everybody else. Because nobody else is watching a video on how to quit your addictions. Think about it. You're the only person in your class, in your friend group, but actually wants to improve. That's the reason you clicked on this video. And I understand how much of a lonely, difficult journey this might be, but it doesn't have to be that way. If you want more value from somebody who's actually gone through what you're going through, there's a link on the bottom of this video in the description that I basically just have this free Discord server that I'm going to let in a handful of people to just literally help them get ahead and improve your life and quit your addictions and get better results trying to lose fat. And if you want to be part of this movement of enlightened teens, of people who want to improve, if you don't want to be like the losers around you, then this Discord, this channel, this movement is for you. So as always, my name's Atharv. Join the Discord. See you soon, bro.